What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. So for this video, we're going to be doing another aesthetic mod, but this time instead of the outside, it's going to be to the engine bay. Now, I had a lot of fun when I was carbon fiber skinning the front lip a while back. I made some mistakes, but I did have a lot of fun doing it. So what I decided I'm going to do for this one is I'm going to carbon fiber skin the battery lid for the compartment. And if this one turns out better than the lip did, I'll go ahead and knock out the brake fluid lid as well. But for right now, we're going to focus on this right here. All right, so I got my battery cover. I cut a new strip of carbon cloth off the old roll that I had that I used on the lip. So this is not the weave lock that I was talking about buying for the future. I didn't want to buy more when I had stuff left over. And since the battery cover is flat, this should lay down nice and even and not have any issues with the weave coming out of sync. So we're good there. I got 60 grit to key up or rough the surface to allow the resin to adhere. And the same stuff I had last time. I got my scale, my brushes, mixing cups, resin hardener, and I went ahead and dug up my cloth roller. This is usually used for fiberglass cloth to get the air bubbles out, but I've seen videos of guys using it on carbon cloth as well, so I'm gonna give this a go and see if this helps in this process at all. I'm not gonna have to use any black dye because, as you can see, the battery lid is already black, so that's good. So with that said, we'll go ahead and rough up or key the surface of the lid, and then we'll go from there. So now this is cleaned up, it's been wiped down and sanitized, I can go ahead and lay the first coat, the first guide coat down and wait for it to become tacky, and then we'll lay the carbon. All right, so it's nice and tacky after about an hour and a half of waiting. So now what I'm gonna do, go ahead and take this, center it evenly, and then drop and place this carbon down onto my panel. There we have it. It is laid down and stuck to the first coat of resin underneath. It's been sitting for about an hour and a half now. I think what I'm going to do now, since it is a little more humid out than it's supposed to be, I think I'm going to go ahead and apply the first layer of epoxy to the top and let that sit for the next 8 hours. Well, there is the first top coat. I'm gonna let it sit for, like I said, 8 hours and then come back out and give it a look. I gotta say though, at this point, I'm not feeling entirely confident this is done properly, especially here in the clips where I'm gonna have to cut and trim this stuff out when it's dry. But guess we'll find out tomorrow. All right, next day. So overall, everything cured the way it was supposed to, but I won't really know how well everything stuck and adhered until I start trimming off what I don't need. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that now, and I'll bring you back to it once everything's somewhat trimmed out. Everything is cut off. I was able to do it all with an X-Acto knife, believe it or not. There is all the excess that I removed. And as you can see, other than the really rough edges from where I gotta go ahead and sand this thing smooth and get it re-prepped, everything came out great. The edges are clean and trimmed. The areas around the clips are also legit and straight. So I'm pretty excited about it. So now I'm going to go ahead and key the surface again with 120 grit just to rough it up, and then we'll apply the next coat of top coat resin. There we have it after the first top coat. I gotta say, it's looking mighty damn good. As you can see, I went ahead and taped off the edges with tape, so that way the resin didn't get anywhere that I didn't want it to be. So this is all said and done, I'll end up scuffing the whole thing down and getting all these edges nice and smooth again, and probably hitting them back up with a matte black so they blend in with the rest of the engine bay trim. But for right now, I'm gonna let this sit for about 2 hours, come back out later today, and apply a second coat of top coat. Well, there you have it after 3 solid coats between around 2 hours apart. The carbon itself looks pretty good. The sides and all the edges where the tape was came off clean. So I'm gonna let this sit for the rest of the night, and tomorrow when I get off work, I'll go ahead and start wet sanding this down to level it out, and then we'll start adding the coats to go ahead and smooth and make everything nice and flush. Alrighty, back at it for the next day. I'm gonna go ahead and hit this up with 120 wet just to get it nice and dull, and then we're gonna hit it again with 220 wet, and then wipe it all down, dry it all back off, and look and see where our low spots and high spots are, and then prepare for the next round of epoxy, which is going to hopefully be the only skim coat we're going to need. Worst case, we'll need to do 2, but we'll find out when we sand it down. Let's go ahead and knock it out. All right, everything's dry, sand it down. I'm gonna go ahead and put the first layer of hopefully final top coat to smooth everything out. And then we'll let it sit overnight and check it again tomorrow. So hopefully there's the final layer of top coat resin. I'm gonna let that cure off overnight, and then I'll sand this whole thing down with 600 and 800 tomorrow, and we'll see what we're looking like. But I have a feeling this is where it needs to be. Alrighty, so here's the final piece, ladies and gentlemen. It's all sanded down and ready for clear coat. Now, before I can clear coat this, however, I will need to go back around this with some matte black and respray all of the sanded sides so it's the same color tone as the other interior pieces in the engine compartment. For the next piece, I won't be sanding any of this. I'll tape all this off so I don't hit it with the sandpaper. But again, live and learn. I know what to not do on the next one that I made mistakes doing with this one. So before I clear it, I gotta finish the rest of the parts that are in the engine compartment, so that way when I clear everything at one time and I'm not wasting any 2K. So before I end this video, let's go ahead and see how it fits. Well, there we go. It fits in there nice and tight, and it looks great. So that is all I have for this one. If you enjoyed the content, you like what you see so far, make sure you like, share, and subscribe for any future content notification. And I will see you guys in the next one.